Start event. Let's see. Oh, I can go live. Go live. Okay, we should be in photo day users. Will you double check for us, Kenneth? Yeah, photo day users.
What am I looking at?
Not the boot camp. We're in photo day users today.
Going to Facebook?
Yep, photo day users. We got access. Director of Education. Right here. Director of Education. That's what I know. What happened? Yeah. You don't see it? You see it now? I'll have to put it on my phone so I can see if anybody asks any questions. We're talking about mirrorless cameras today because I feel like it needs to be readdressed. Oh, you don't? Oh, hold on. Let me see. Oh, no. Hopefully, I'm not going to see just me again.
I see just you, Jay.
Just me?
Mm-hmm.
Add to screen. Look at that.
You're getting pro. That's pro level stuff that you're working.
Look at that.
That's good. God, I'd have combed my hair a little better if I knew we were going on the users group.
Well, so you're saying that you treat the boot campers worse than you do?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that I didn't realize what was all happening today because it's been a very busy week.
What happened? Why is what was the deal with the dog that you had to take pictures of today?
So we did dog photos today. I'm trying to break into that market a little bit. I've been wanting to do that for, I don't know, the last 6 or 7 years, but I never made time for that. And with Photo Day, I've had a little more free time to try different things, and now I get to actually try that. So that's been pretty cool.
You have free time?
Well, I mean, more than I used to.
I didn't know you had any free time.
Nobody has a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened with the dog? You said, was it hard to get his pictures today?
So the first dog was a rock star. The second dog did not like the flash. So there's problems there.
This is in the middle of it.
Oh, look, you got a busy background.
Yeah, we have people here who they're silent for hours, except when I start the camera and then everybody wants to have a big, giant conversation in the middle of everything.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
You know what was awesome using a mirrorless camera today with the dog was the animal eye tracking. I cannot believe how good that works. I think all the cameras have it now.
What was your f-stop?
It depended. Like I shot it a little bit outside. I was shooting at 2.8 outside, and then
in studio. Yeah.
In the studio, I was shooting at f8.
I
wanted a lot of fall off. Sometimes I think I switched to f11 and cranked the light up a little bit just because I wanted to make sure the dog was all in focus. But I was using a wider angle lens and getting closer to the dog so that, because you'll shoot dogs, and I've done it in the past where you shoot their eye and then their nose is out of focus or blurry.
Right.
So, because of depth of field. But if you use a wider angle lens, you can shoot, and you shoot at f8, pretty much your whole scene's in focus. So, and plus you can get right close to the dog.
And you set up a job in Photo Day?
I'm gonna set it up in Photo Day.
That's great.
Imagine if they got face tracking or eye tracking for dogs. When's Photo Day going to come out with face tracking or facial recognition for dogs?
Let's just keep it. Let's make sure they get all the stuff that we need first before we start going over to Animal Planet.
Fine. Yeah, I see squirrels and I run the other way. It's my fault.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Did you gel the background like you were thinking about doing?
I didn't. No, I kept it simple this time, but I'm gonna gel. Black? Yeah, it's black, but I'm gonna gel the background for my dogs when I go to shoot them. So,
well, speaking of gel and backgrounds, I'm still experimenting. I did that yesterday with some cheer. I got the Pavo tubes, which are by Nan Light, and those are pretty cool. But hold on a second. I'm way too bright. Am I way too bright?
Yeah, you're too bright.
You're a little bright. You're a photographer for crying out loud. Get it straight.
I just have to adjust my shades. I'm using the window light. I got the Nan light. I got the constant light. So I still just hadn't set everything up yet. But anyways, this kind of leads into the mirrorless discussion. So I had gymnastics Friday, and then I had cheer on Sunday, and gymnastics was black and blue uniforms, and then gymnastics was black and orange. So I had those Pavo tubes that go the full RGB color spectrum, right? So
Yeah.
I had blue lights for the cheerleaders, but what I was able to do is I had one set up for flash with the black backdrop, and I do all my dramatic stuff. And then I set another backdrop up for Jody, and I used that constant light with the pavo tubes because I was concerned that the flash would drown out the pavo tube. You know what I'm saying? On that one side. So I backed them up, I shot them, and they turned out really good. And it was cool because I had the constant light, and I was able to just feather that constant light just where I wanted it. And it was then you can turn the constant preview on with a mirrorless camera, and you can see exactly what you're going to get.
What
And
you see is what you get. Yeah.
it is exactly what you're going to get. So that's really cool using it in that fashion. But yesterday I had to have flash, and so I was trying to figure out how to incorporate the tubes with the flash. And I figured out how to do it, but it required somebody manually moving the stands back and forth because what my concern was is it was orange, right? The girls were orange, and it looked cool, but I was worried that moms were going to get mad about orange hair. You know what I'm saying? Like if I shot the whole thing with orange hair, I was worried about complaints. So when you shoot, 130 kids, if you mess it up, then it's bad news. So it was the very first year we shot them. So I wanted to do both. I want to have a traditional shot and a one that got a little bit edgier. And I just couldn't figure out how to make it work in the time because Karina gives me about a minute an athlete, maybe a minute 15 per athlete. And so having to move stuff, change camera settings, turn lights on and off, it took me like a minute and a half. And so I was backing up, and running a little bit late. So I had to stop. But the point of the story is I don't think I could have duplicated that in studio practicing. I mean, in studio practicing, you can dial it in, right? You got time and you kind of simulate what's going to happen, but not until you actually get to the shoot do you really find out what's up. You know what I mean? You got these 20 cheer, you got 20 minutes to shoot them, and you want to get two separate looks. How are you going to do it and try to figure it out? And I just don't think you can replicate that unless you actually do it. And that's how I got into mirrorless too. It's like I couldn't. I had to rent the camera. I had to use it at a shoot. I couldn't just rent it and just get pictures of the kids that weekend. I had to actually have it in my hands, and that's the biggest thing I get with people who are using DSLRs. Like I've been using a DSLR and I've been taking fantastic photos since 1995 or whenever DSLRs came out. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that it?
You're right. Yeah, I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, what were the first cards? I mean, I remember seeing SanDisk cards or whatever. They were like 12 megabytes, 15 megabytes, because you had like 2 megapixel pictures or something, just crazy small.
I had 2 megabyte. I had 2 megabytes. Yeah. I was thinking about gigabytes. I had little 2 gigabyte cards for my D300. I had one sitting up here the other day, but
I think I might even have one on my desk still that I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So was the Sony was that your first mirrorless? No, you had the Z.
I had the Z6, but I had 2 Z6s that I bought before I realized I didn't do my research. I mean, poor me, but I didn't do my research. I didn't realize they didn't have a way to that second card slot, so I bought 2 Z6s, and when I got them, I was very disappointed. Like I almost stopped using them immediately.
But you bought the camera despite knowing it only had one card slot.
Yeah.
Did that ever cause you any problems?
Yes. Yeah, and so I stopped using it after that.
Well, that's your own damn fault. You should have known.
I thought you could back it up via Bluetooth. I thought you could. There would be a way to set it up where you would be able to throw it to your phone, and then that would be your backup card, like just a small JPEG.
Yeah, I just can't, like, whenever the companies come out with something like, hey, you're going to use your cell phone to control the lights, like, who is it, Broncolor? Like the most expensive lights there are. They want you to control the lights with your phone. Like, there's no way. Like, especially if you're photo day, because if you're using the Capture app or you just need to look up a code or whatever, I'm using my phone all the time for work while I'm at a shoot. I don't want to control my lights with my phone.
Godox has it now too, I think. I think Ed and Kathleen use it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't they just use the transmitter?
Well, I think because Ed can change it on the fly for her. I think she just screams at him and he does whatever. He's the grip. Great. That's what his job is.
He's the grip. Yeah, but did you see that his post was pretty awesome? That last post he just posted. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You gotta check out. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But okay, all right. I want you to name. I wrote them down, so I'm quizzing you. The
Great.
benefits, the the benefits of mirrorless. I'm gonna give you a hint. There is. See, let's see. I have one, two, three, four, five key benefits.
I got to come up with what? Just 2 or all 5?
All five.
I mean, there's probably more than 5, to be honest, now that I've been
The
using
big
it.
ones for volume, because the thing is like you have to, in my opinion, with team and volume photography is completely different than wedding photography or family portraits or whatever. I'm talking about reasons specifically. I'm not talking about your dogs.
But the same rule
Or your,
applies. It doesn't matter, like whether it's a dog or a human. That the
it
auto
might
eye
even
tracking,
it might apply even more for dogs though.
yeah. But the eye tracking is awesome. It
That
changes.
wasn't on the
It
list, but I
changes
think
how
we
you
should
use
add it.
it. You don't even have that on the list.
Well,
Oh my god.
that's kind of with autofocus though, right?
Well, especially shooting at 2.8, you could shoot at
Right.
2.8. I'm gonna use it. You could shoot at 1.2 if you have. I have a 50 1.2, and I could shoot that for basketball indoors, and really blur that background out and get a little closer to the subject. I don't have to use a 7200, but you could
Right.
shoot at 1.2 and know that you're hitting the eye on the autofocus. You know you're hitting it by looking at the green dot and seeing where it is when you hit the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but I shot DSLR for many years. I used an 85 1.4, and
Right.
you shoot an
Good
image of
question.
somebody and you might get 1 out of 3 images are perfectly on that eye, even though you didn't move the spot. That stuff doesn't happen with mirrorless. You just nail it.
And it looks good in the back of the screen too, and you don't notice it until you get back to the house.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah,
oh
because
my
the screen's so
god,
small. You think, oh, I got that. And I don't know
yeah.
how many pictures I've thrown out that I thought were awesome when I took them and get home. And sure enough, they're blurry. You can't sell them.
I know it's the worst. Like, especially if you show somebody, like, what if that's the one image they remember? What about that one
Yeah.
photo you took? I'm like,
Oh, it's happened. I've done it. And I've
sorry,
been like, oh, yeah, sorry. Just what it wasn't it.
can't do it, can't do it. Yeah, that I was shooting at f4. Like once I got like my first experience with shooting because I wanted that shallow depth of field because all the bad background. So I started shooting at f4, and I still was getting in trouble with Karina and Scott. They're like, Jay, half your photos are out of focus, and I was like doing breathing techniques like a sniper.
Yeah, and then
Like,
hitting it.
yeah,
No, I've done it
yeah. I
too.
mean,
I've
just
done it.
like, and you have to like sit down in it, and
Well, I would set
relax.
up and I'd slam my elbow into my waistline and use it as a tripod and use
Uh-huh.
my cheek and still and just barely and it's still you'd still get a blur. Didn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. It was bad. Okay, so
Especially when I bought the D850. Holy cow! When I switched over to that from my D750, I started
Mhm.
missing so many shots because your
Really?
technique mattered so much more. The higher megapixel cameras,
Oh, right,
the
right, right.
more your technique matters. You get
Mhm.
away with a lot more with a 12 megapixel. Like I said, I made a living on D3S forever on 2 of those. And they were sports cameras for good reason, I think. But high ISO and 12 megapixels was really forgiving with your technique. You could bounce around a little more and you wouldn't get quite as many blurry pictures. But if you have a super high megapixel camera, you got to be rock solid with that. I mean, you cannot move a bit.
Okay, we got autofocus. What
Um,
I'm writing
I think
notes. And then what's the next one?
lightweight. My arm
I
hasn't
didn't
hurt
have
since
that
I
one on
bought.
there either.
God, what kind of photographer are you? So, but yeah, so my arm was starting to hurt
Well,
shrugging around.
wait. This is the Lumix, right?
Oh, that one doesn't count.
Yeah, but
The Lumix is heavy.
this is the f4. The f2.8 is big and heavy. So, yeah, this one is not a light DSLR or mirrorless camera. This one is hefty.
Look how
Okay.
tiny this is. This is a powerhouse right here.
What is that one?
What is this one? This is my A7R. This is A7R4. I don't use this for
Okay.
volume because it's super high megapixel, but they're all the same size. This is the
What
same
about the
size.
screen though?
The screen's fine. I mean, the screens are just so much better than the DSLR ones for sure. I mean,
No,
all the
but
way
how does
around.
the screen flip on that one?
This one doesn't flip like you like it. It's also just it's a tool for a different job, but same camera. What do we got over here?
That's your
Here's my
that's
A9. Same thing. This is what I use for weddings, but same. And then I have a battery grip on it, and it's still smaller and lighter than my DSLRs.
Yeah, that guy's tiny.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me get my...
Look at that tracking. Just tracked right on you.
Did it? Anyway,
See, now I'm too dark. Now I'm too dark.
Well, you got to use a constant light source for video.
No,
You got a
but
brand new nano light that you're sitting here bragging about, and you're using window light. What are you doing?
I know. We got storms rolling in. It's not. It's Mother
Here's
Nature.
your flippy screen that you like. This one. Where it flips
Okay.
around.
See, now we're talking.
See.
But still, that's still not the best one. Lumix got the best one.
The best screen?
Yeah, because it's like this.
I don't know. This is A7S3, supposed to be mainly for video, but this 12 megapixel beast I will throw at anyone, quality-wise. Yeah, where it flops straight out. Because this one does like the Canon, right? And then it gets in your way. You know,
that's a vlog. That's a vlogger's camera. That's not a man's camera.
Listen, it's not a man's world anymore. I think there's more women photographers.
I know. They're killing us. They're killing us.
Yeah, well, they're better for a good reason. They're smarter and they're more meticulous than us. So there's a reason why they're better.
No, this. Yeah. So I like the way this one flips. This is my favorite screen. In outside, this is the best screen. But
when you brought it to boot camp, I was surprised how bright that screen was.
Yeah, but it's got that soft shutter though. That's the problem. So when you're trying to take a photo of a kid tossing a ball or a dancer jumping or a gymnast jumping, it like has that little soft shutter and it's no good. Is the Sony doesn't, right? Sony's good.
Yeah, Sony's good. Also, Crystal Holden just said the A7 IV flips out right. That last camera they just came out with. I haven't bought it yet, but I will. It's got a little more megapixels.
I wonder about this. Is I was talking to a camera guy, and his I guess issue with Sony was that the mount, they didn't make the mount very big. It's not as big as the Canon and the Nikon. So their future of making really fast glass, it might be limited because of the mount.
I mean, I'm putting 1.2s on. What do you want?
I know. Well, just make an observation.
Horrible.
I don't know.
Horrible observation. Waste.
This one is this is the one that like yours because the R6 flipped like that. Yeah. This one is pretty awesome. I don't know. It does. Me and Jody both having a problem with being a little buggy. Like the autofocus just goes wild sometimes. It wasn't too bad yesterday, but still, I have to cut the camera on and off probably every 5 athletes, which can be a little bit annoying. Sometimes it's like every 20, but sometimes it gets really bad, or it's every, and it always is the worst time. When the camera
is it with all the Canons, or is it just one of them?
Well, I only got 2 R6s.
Get one that's buggy.
Well, I've got 2 of them do the same thing.
Okay, so it's across the board.
Yeah, and then if you leave the memory cards in there, like we like to have that backup memory card, and it stays in there forever. So towards the end of the season, it starts getting slow to load like a computer would. You know what I mean? Like it's like loading.
Yeah.
And so then when you have to turn it on and off, you turn it on and it's sitting there forever. So if you clean off the memory card, it works quicker, but that's not the point. But the point is, you know what I'm saying? Because I want that card in there so that way, I can have that one 256 gig card that has small JPEG, so it'll last the whole season or close to the whole season as a backup. And so when it starts acting slow towards the end of the season, that's a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, I just got the cheap 128. I got 128ers, but every JPEG goes straight to that second card slot. Yeah,
well, we have 256 in there just so it'll last for as long as possible.
Yeah,
but I mean that's a negative. If you want to have a negative for a mirrorless, for my experience with the R6, that was the issue. And I'm talking on the Fuji right now, and I'm dark again. The Fuji is that's a whole different animal. That camera is fantastic. If you want a lightweight camera, that guy's really good. But it's a crop sensor. All right, so you have lightweight. I didn't have lightweight on there. What else?
So I've got 2. You've got 5 more still that I haven't even mentioned.
Okay. Well, autofocus is kind of across the board.
Yeah. Lightweight. What else are we working towards here? What's different in my life now that I have a mirrorless? I mean, I do love the what you see is what you get on the back when you have that set up. That's
Yeah,
pretty.
but that's all.
But
You can't use
I
that.
didn't get used to that. I know, but I mean, so here's the thing, right? It, I remember pros kind of griping about it at first because it made people kind of be able to take better photos. But you know what? It just makes a pro even better too, because now if we're second guessing what our thing is, we can just look at it real quick and be done with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, my biggest thing is the lightweight, the speed. I switched from all Nikon gear to Sony, so I have a lot of things that I like better about Canon or Nikon than I do about Sony, and vice versa. They're tools to get the job done, and if you don't keep up on those tools to get the job done, then you're going to get left behind, right? I mean, these cameras make us better photographers, period. Just because of all the bells and whistles. But
Well, I'll give you a couple of mine, and this is specific at it, and this goes back to not really knowing how good they were until I actually used them at a photo shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like I always feel like a piece of gear has to go through at least a season, maybe two, to really for me to form a strong opinion on it. And with the mirrorless, I found out pretty quick that the electronic viewfinder was invaluable because when you take a photo, if you haven't used the mirrorless before, when you take the photo, you see the image immediately in the viewfinder. It's like a little TV screen, and so if I nailed the shot, then I can go to the next shot. That's the whole point. Oh, we lost Justin. So that electronic viewfinder is like if you're shooting with photo day and you have to get multiple poses, or you want to do a smile to game face, as soon as you take the image, you see it, and that way you can move on to the next image really quick. So you can take 5 images fast, and you don't have a bunch of images when you get back that you have to cull through because 3 images look exactly the same, like with DSLRs. You'd have to just keep shooting and then go back and play them and see if they look good.
and you'd have to use. I haven't pulled this out since I bought a mirrorless camera. This is a Hoodman
Yeah.
loop.
Yep.
And yeah, so you're right. The electronic viewfinder. I mean, I guess I overlooked it, but yeah, definitely, I haven't had to use this.
Oh my gosh. But Scott still uses that for his damn phone. We'll be on Sunday, and he's following his fantasies, and he has a Hoodman loop looking at his phone. That's how old he is. Yeah.
Well, I guess he found a new use for it. That's good.
Yeah, that's what he uses. Yeah.
That's nice.
Wants to know how much horizontal are you doing from the ground?
How much? Who? Okay.
Kathleen.
Horizontal from the ground. It just depends if that goes in my progressions. Like usually, it depends on like the size of the shoot. So, if we have 2 photographers and we have time, then we'll shoot from the ground horizontally, especially if they're little guys. If they're high schoolers, that's really hard to do because you have to back up your light so far. But I'll do it if I can because that's my favorite shot. But really, it's like me and as we're working through it, whether it be me and Jody or me and Scott, after about 2 teams, we kind of figure out, okay, this is how much time we have. This is what this league feels like. Let's do full body, half body from the ground, full body, half body, smile or game face. We'll just kind of call it out. And that way we know what our progressions are. And if we can fit a horizontal in from the ground, it's great. But it's quicker to go if I'm shooting here, if I want to do a horizontal close up, I'll go here rather than from doing it, from the ground. Now the Lumix is really easy to do the horizontal from the ground because it pops out like this. The Canon, I feel like, is a whole lot more difficult because as you're taking the photos, your screen, you have to flip, out this way and then up to get that
It gets
horizontal
in the
shot.
way of your wrist. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
trying to get it leveled and
yeah,
it's hitting your wrist. You can't see it; it's angled. Yeah.
yeah. And if I'm sitting like Indian style, a lot of times my leg will hit the viewfinder and then I'm out. So there's several little things there. All right.
Yeah.
How has already been like 20? It's been 25 minutes already. I was going to do 30 minutes.
No,
All
it
right.
has not. Has it really?
It's been 25 minutes. It has.
We haven't even got to all the things.
I know. We got to go. We got to fly. Let's see. Auto gain for neutral density filters. That's something I never would have thought about.
Gail wants to know if she has a question about your battery.
What battery?
On the Canon R6, is it because the Wi-Fi is on?
Oh.
Battery dies fast.
That battery dies fast. So I have 2 batteries. I have the battery grip in the R6, and I really have never, even on big shoots, I've had to take one battery out and start charging it, but that's it. Like I don't have any battery issues, but I'd make sure that it's on the Eco.
Just run 2 batteries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have
I will say the
eco.
grip helps if you have a little bigger hands. It helps for holding on to your
Oh
because they're
yeah,
almost too small.
too
They're almost too
small.
small. Yeah.
The Fuji, the X-T3, in my opinion, is unusable without the grip. Got to have the grip.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't have problems with the battery as long as I have 2 batteries in there, and then yeah, and I make sure it's on eco mode, so it turns off pretty quick. So I do that too, and the Wi-Fi will suck a battery's life out pretty quick as well. I don't
Yeah.
use that much though. Do you? I mean, sometimes I try to just really quick so I could show like the gym owner or the league director or whatever a photo on my phone. That's about it.
Yeah. I don't do that. I just show them the back of the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's again why Lumix is so good. It works great in the back of the camera, but the
You know,
Canon it is good enough.
you'll get kids that are, kind of not really having photo day, right? You'll show up and, I think everybody's done this with a couple of, when you get a couple of teams, you show up to middle school or something and they're playing grab ass and not really having, they're not really having picture day. And so I always take a couple cool pictures right
Yeah,
out of the
and then
gate of the
show 'em.
first kid. And then I go show them and I say, see what we're doing here? This is Sports Illustrated cover stuff. Let's go. And then they get
Yes,
excited. They turn into
I
your
think you
best friend.
really have to do that with high school kids. That's
Oh
really
yeah.
important.
Because
Yeah, I guess
they're so
yeah,
sick of the old pictures. And so when you start giving them something a little grittier, a little darker,
they
a
love it.
little bit more creative, they love it. And that's another plus with Mirrorless. It lets you be more creative and lets you be able to, get to your spot, get to your stuff faster. It's just an easier tool to get there. We don't take great pictures because we have great cameras, but it does help us. It makes us,
Absolutely.
I get to be more concerned about my accuracy and composition, and it's easier to prepare for a job, all that good stuff. So
What did Gail ask, babe? Krina?
Eco mode. She said eco mode. Yep. Wi-Fi shut off too.
Yeah, and she's still having problems. Yeah, I don't know. Make sure she got a battery grip. Got to have that battery grip. All right. So, and that goes with the screen. That screen, the flippable screen is one of them, right? So we have the flippable
yeah,
screen. Um, Auto gain. You didn't mention that.
I don't know if it comes into play for me too often. I guess I don't notice it.
You don't use the filters at all.
Yeah, I mean, I got one on right now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, putting that filter on a DSLR is difficult.
Yeah, because then you can't see nothing. You're right,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, it's stuff I don't even think about because it just works, and you're like, oh,
Right.
that's nice.
And you still don't miss focus. Still don't miss
Right.
focus.
No, it hits it.
Well, this is a big one for me. Is the image stabilization.
Yeah, it's way better.
It's so good. Like I feel like I can be running around like this.
You can't. Yeah, you
I
can.
can run like this.
The lenses have, I have 2
Yeah.
modes in the lens, and then I got, you got another one in the camera. You got 2 more in the camera, right? Don't you have?
Yeah, it's dual.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And
dual. So
and that's the question that somebody else had today in the boot camp was, should they have the Canon? Should they invest in the RF glass compared to the EF glass? And for me, when I bought my camera systems, I was buying it because I wanted all the benefits of both. You know what I mean? And plus, I had all Nikon lenses, so all the mirrorless that I bought have not been Nikon, so I didn't really have a chance for an adapter. But I think the autofocus is just that much better when they're when they're working together, not an older DSLR lens with an adapter. That's what I've been
right.
told. But some people are saying that they can't notice the difference, so I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I'll go all mirrorless glass now. Get rid of your old glass while it's still worth something, I think. While there's still people shooting with DSLRs, so you can kind of dump that stuff off on them. If they don't want to come to the table yet, use that as a tool for you to help get the most bang for your buck out of that glass, I think, right now. When I bought my Z6s, right, I had to have the adapter to use all my old Nikon glass. And I will tell you, it is a giant, giant pain in the ass to deal with that adapter, especially for speed. I mean, as you know, I shoot more than just volume, right? But
Right.
here's a real big caveat. I use Manfrotto. I know people, not everybody uses Manfrotto stuff, but I can't put a Manfrotto quick release plate on a Z6 or a Z7 and put the adapter on. I have to take this off my camera base because I had both lenses. I had the mirrorless glass and then I had the old glass. And when you have to put the adapter on, you have to take this plate off. So now you're already not talking about a speed plate because I'd have to put it on the adapter, it wouldn't fit if you had this on here if I put the old glass on. Now, if I used, I ended up just using, my 24 to 70 as much as possible because I didn't want to take the lenses off and on. And that
Right.
they make such incredible glass right now. The new glass is so sharp. It's almost too sharp. It's kind of scary.
That's really good.
It's so good. And so I just don't see wasting your time on the old stuff. It's part of being a professional. Move on.
Yeah,
Get,
I mean,
get with the
just
program.
I think that's a lot to do with the vibration reduction. I would think when I'm shooting, if I was shooting with that would be a big thing for me, just making sure that you had that. I think it's like 8 stops. I mean, it's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, like especially now that I'm trying to like experiment with those LED lights. And if you want to shoot it a 60th of a second with a 7200 lens, you couldn't do that before.
Not efficiently, not effectively, right? You could
Right.
get 1 out of 10.
You're
It
supposed to
would
shoot
be.
like what was the max, like the shutter speed and the millimeters had to be equal. Like if you're shooting at 60th of
Yeah.
a
So,
second handheld, you couldn't go past 60 millimeters on your lens,
well, and
approximately.
how good is ISO these days? You're not getting hardly any grain up to 3200 for any
Right.
camera. So,
Mhm.
you're able to bump that shutter up when you're shooting with those nanolights probably too. So you not only can you run faster shutter, get cleaner images, you also have all that stabilization. Like it's a win-win across the board.
All right. That's it. Mirrorless cameras. If you don't have one, invest in it. It'll be one of the best things you can do for your photography business. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed. Gail says money, 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 but here's the deal. Things are so much cheaper in the camera world than they used to be. These
Correct.
mirrorless cameras are half the price that the expensive pro level DSLRs were back in the day. So I just can't, we have to have something that separates us from everybody else in the crowd. And if you can't afford the tools to do it, get more business.
Well, everybody's making more money with photo day, right?
I am.
Yeah. Make more money for photo day. You can afford it. Yep.
Yeah.
It'll pay for itself within a couple shoots.
Easily. I mean, look I haven't talked to Dorensky firsthand yet, but I remember I told him down. I can't remember where we were talking about it, and I'd mentioned getting mirrorless. You got to get a mirrorless. You're crazy not shooting with that. And I noticed he rented one earlier, but I don't know. He said he had to wait till Q3 to buy it. Don't wait, man. Go
Go
get
wait.
that thing. Spring's
Yeah.
here. You're gonna make all your money back right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, buddy. Thank you. Next
Hey,
Monday.
great chat. We'll be back next Monday. Huh?
All right.
Hopefully,
All
we
right.
can answer more questions. We didn't even look at the chat. How mean are we?
I didn't. Well, we just got too into it. We got into a couple. We'll go offline. We'll answer them.
Okay,
All right, bud.
later.